The ultimatum. They came without warning. The skies over Earth tore open as fire and steel rained down from orbit. Massive alien warships, obsidian and silent, descended like gods of old. Cities went dark within hours. Satellites blinked out. Communications collapsed. Humanity barely had time to scream before silence fell. 3 days later, the broadcast began. A shimmering figure appeared on every screen, still functioning, hovering in the smoke-filled air like a holographic nightmare. 8 feet tall, cloaked in crimson armor, its face was a cluster of twitching mandibles and lidless black eyes. It spoke in flawless, synthesized English. "We are the Z-Cal Dominion. Your governments are ashes. Your armies are broken. Your world is ours." It raised a 3-fingered hand, and the screen split, displaying scenes of surrender. Capitals in ruins. Leaders kneeling. Human soldiers disarmed and marched away. Cities renamed. Resistance, it declared, would mean extermination. Surrender meant survival. Captain Mara Voss watched it unfold from the shadows of a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. She didn't flinch. She didn't speak. She listened. And when the transmission ended, she turned to the half-dozen people behind her, faces hardened by grief, loss, and fury. "This is it," she said. "They think it's over." Jack, a wiry former engineer covered in soot and scars, scoffed. "They took the cities, sure, but they don't own the ground beneath our boots." "We've got no satellites," Ayla, the medic, said. "No supply chain. We're scattered." "And underestimated," Mara replied. "They think we'll roll over, but they've never met humanity on its worst day." On a far wall, dozens of photos were taped, faces of fallen friends, family, soldiers. Below them, scribbled in thick black marker, "We remember. We retaliate." The Z-Cal didn't understand Earth. They didn't know about Vietnam, about Stalingrad, about trench rats in France or tunnel fighters in Iraq. They didn't know that humanity had survived ice ages, nuclear standoffs, extinction events, and each other. "We'll hit them," Mara said, pacing now. "Not in the open. Not their way. Ours. With mines made from scrap metal. With blades from broken steel. With ambushes, fire, and fury." Jack grinned. "Guerrilla hell." Ayla nodded. "We'll make them bleed for every inch." Outside, snow dusted the peaks, and smoke still curled into the sky from what used to be Denver. Drones patrolled the air, blind to the fury brewing beneath their senses. Mara stood beneath the cracked seal of the old NORAD command center, now repurposed as the heart of resistance. "We're not done," she said. "We're just getting started." She picked up a salvaged rifle and slung it over her shoulder. Her voice dropped to a growl. "They wanted surrender. We'll give them hell instead." The spark ignites. The Z-Cal turned New York into a prison. Steel towers once filled with light and noise now stood gutted, draped in alien banners. Z-Cal enforcers stalked the streets, 8-limbed brutes in exo-armor, dragging civilians into camps under the excuse of order. Resistance meant death. Compliance meant slavery. But under the cracked concrete of an abandoned subway line, fire whispered through the dark. Mara crouched beside a crate of stolen Z-Cal tech. Jack was hunched over it, fingers flying across a jury-rigged interface made of human scrap and alien circuitry. "How much longer?" Mara asked. 5 minutes. Maybe 3 if this thing doesn't fry my eyebrows. Ayla adjusted her vest, eyes scanning the tunnel entrance. "Patrol's due in 10. We move or we die." They weren't soldiers anymore, not in the traditional sense. They were scavengers, saboteurs, insurgents, humans weaponized by rage and necessity. Their gear was mismatched, stolen energy rifles, baseball bats wrapped in barbed wire, body armor welded from kitchen appliances. Jack's device beeped. "Done. Doors to the central depot are unlocked. Lights stay down. Cameras looped." Mara nodded. "Then let's remind them what a cornered human fight's like." They moved through the underground network like ghosts, emerging in the shadow of the alien-supplied depot, once a city mall, now fortified with force fields and Z-Cal weapon turrets. Inside, fuel cells, plasma cartridges, and communication nodes waited. The strike was fast. Jack disabled the external defenses with an EMP pulse. Ayla lobbed a Molotov into the command post. Mara led the charge, shooting, stabbing, burning. Screams echoed, alien, human. Chaos bloomed in every corridor. A Zikal warrior lunged at Mara, claws wide. She rolled beneath the swipe and drove a jagged metal pipe into its abdomen, twisting until it shrieked and collapsed. Within 8 minutes, the depot was in flames. They gathered what they could: power cores, medkits, encrypted drives. Then they vanished into the tunnels before reinforcements arrived. Back in the bunker, battered and blooded, they watched the firestorm on a hijacked Zikal feed. The aliens were panicking. This wasn't supposed to happen. Earth was pacified. Resistance wasn't in their invasion models. Humans were meant to obey. Mara stood in front of the camera. Behind her, the resistance stood silent, faces grim, weapons ready. She stared directly into the lens and spoke. To the Zikal watching this, you mistook silence for surrender. You mistook grief for defeat. You mistook humanity for weakness. You were wrong. You invaded a world that lives with death every day. You wanted a slave race. You got a war. You thought you'd break us. She slammed a stolen plasma rifle onto the table. But all you did was set us on fire. She stepped back. Jack hit upload. Across occupied Earth, Zikal screens flickered. Civilians saw hope. Resistance cells lit up. And far above, in the cold command chambers of the Dominion fleet, a nervous silence fell. For the first time, they realized Earth wasn't beaten. It had just begun to fight. Operation Hellfire. The world had changed. From the ashes of lost cities, humanity's fury burned brighter than any alien plasma. Mara's team was no longer just surviving. They were preparing to strike back, hard and fast. Operation Hellfire starts tonight, Mara announced to her team gathered in the dim glow of the bunker's control room. Maps and hacked alien schematics covered the walls. Jack tapped furiously on a stolen console. We've reverse-engineered their plasma rifles. Not perfect, but effective. And I've hacked their surveillance drones. We'll turn their eyes against them. Rook cracked his knuckles, muscles bulging beneath a patchwork armor made from firefighter gear. I'm ready to send those damn Zikal crawling back to space. Ayla packed medkits with a grim smile. We save who we can. Then we burn what's left. Their target, a massive Zikal command ship hovering over Chicago, the central hub coordinating the invasion in North America. Destroying it would cripple enemy communications and buy humanity precious time. The plan was brutal in its simplicity: hit the ship's power core with everything they had and vanish before reinforcements could respond. Mara led her team into the shattered streets, ghosts moving through the ruined urban labyrinth. Every corner held danger: alien patrols, automated turrets, deadly traps, but the resistance had learned to use the city's wreckage as a weapon. Jack deployed hacked drones overhead. Their glowing red eyes now searched for Zikal targets, feeding back real-time data to Mara's team. A sudden explosion rocked the street, a patrol ambushed by Rook's homemade explosives. Alien bodies hit the cracked pavement as fire and smoke rose in a deadly plume. Mara pushed forward, her rifle blazing plasma bolts. Bullets sang past her, but she moved with a lethal grace born of desperation and rage. Inside the command ship's shadow, they breached the lower decks. Alarms blared, red lights strobing. Jack hacked the internal locks while Ayla tended to a wounded fighter with a medkit barely more advanced than a bandage soaked in antiseptic. The power core was a glowing orb of alien energy, dangerous, unstable. Plant the charges, Mara ordered. Seconds stretched like hours as explosives counted down. Then, the blast shook the ship to its core. The hull cracked, windows shattered, and debris rained down on the streets below. Zikal screams echoed as systems failed. But the aliens were not finished. A retaliatory nuke launched toward a nearby city. Chicago's ruins were their punishment for defiance. Mara's team scrambled. Jack hacked the missile's guidance system mid-flight, redirecting it to the alien staging grounds. The missile slammed into the enemy base, turning their stronghold into a blazing inferno. Exhausted, battered, but alive, Mara watched the command ship's remnants burn against the smoky sky. "We didn't just fight back," she whispered. "We showed them what hell looks like." Above, the alien fleet faltered. For the first time, the invaders realized Earth's greatest weapon was not technology. It was the unbreakable human spirit. Echoes of fire. The alien fleet was retreating. The once mighty Zcal Dominion ships blinked out of Earth's orbit like wounded beasts, limping back to the cold void of space. Their war machine was shattered, not by overwhelming firepower, but by relentless human defiance. Mara stood at the edge of a ruined city square, the wind whipping dust through the skeletal remains of skyscrapers. Around her, survivors gathered, ragged but unbroken. Children clung to parents. Old veterans leaned on makeshift weapons. Humanity was battered, but free. A captured Zcal general, an enormous creature with cracked crimson armor, was brought before Mara. His mandibles twitched nervously. He had never understood why Earth's defenders refused to surrender, why they fought back so fiercely. Mara looked him in the eyes, cold and steady. "You wanted slaves," she said quietly. "You wanted obedience. Instead, you found fire." The general hissed. "Your species is weak. You should have yielded." Mara's voice hardened. "You never understood Earth. We come from worlds that kill us daily. Disease, famine, war, disaster. We are born in chaos. You were just another challenge." Behind her, the crowd murmured their agreement. The general's eyes flickered. Fear, maybe respect. He had met no enemy like this. Mara turned away. There was work to be done. The fight was far from over, but the tide had turned. Around the world, pockets of resistance were rising, cities flickering back to life. Power grids were restored, factories repurposed for rebuilding. The human spirit, scarred but unyielding, roared louder than any alien warship. Mara raised a salvaged human flag, a ragged banner stitched from old flags, bandages, and hope. "This is our home," she said, voice carrying across the crowd. "We will rebuild. We will remember." Jack joined her, nodding. "The stars are watching. Let them know who we are." From battered communication arrays, messages blasted into deep space. To anyone listening, Mara's voice broadcast across the void, clear and unwavering. "We are Earth. We do not kneel. We do not forget. We fight." The fires of resistance had become a beacon, a warning that no invader could ignore. As night fell, Mara looked up at the dark sky, where distant stars flickered cold and silent. "Let them know this," she whispered. "Hell isn't below. It's where we stand." And with that, humanity prepared for the future, scarred, fierce, and ready to fight again.